what the state intended when they passed these laws, is I don't feel like this is gonna totally address it. That it's a step in the right direction, and I can see the concern, so I don't have a full problem with
I understand. You know, because I think there's other concealed carries
Oh, yeah.
in here also.
And like I said, I have no intention of talking to you.
Bob, were you getting feedback from people within the community? Or was this more your personal?
No, not really, it's just my personal, I think concealed carry's got a bad name, you know, let's face it, it's something that scares everybody, and the guy that's gonna do something, he's not gonna be the guy with the concealed carry, he's gonna be the guy that you can put 14 signs on the door and they'll just rip it off. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I think everybody knows that, but I'm all for doing anything we can to prevent that kind of thing. And if it makes, you know, like the employees here uncomfortable, we don't want that either. So I didn't want anybody thinking I'm just, you know, out of control gun free, because I'm not. I don't, I think I'm rather carry it.
Well, thank you, Ron. I move, motion for adjournment.
Sorry.
Moved by Councilman Brown to adjourn. Do I have a second? Any discussion? No discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay, we're adjourned, and we'll go into the work session. Katie, do you have anything at this time?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Glenn?
Nothing further.
One question, Glenn, what we talked about the gas company.
Oh, yeah.
Have you researched that any further, Glenn, about
Yeah.
whether the gas company's required to supply us with what we need?
Yeah, in general terms, yes, but they can do what they're doing as far as curtailable pressure, as far as their agreement with us and how they would operate and whatever. They can do that, and they've done it in other cities. They've curtailed because of the pressure issue. So we're not the only one, we're not the first one to face that issue. So
But they-
legally, they can do that.
They wouldn't lend any support in us getting the pressure.
Well, the only way we could do it is like this. So their solution is the separate pipeline, the direct pipeline from, you know, the plant to the supply line out here. I mean, that's their proposed solution to.
Where's their supply line?
Ronnie, I think you know, do you know where they're?
Out there by Thummel's house, on Highway
Oh,
24.
clear out
Not
there.
20, yeah, it's a long, that's why it's as expensive as it is.
So even if they furnished the pipe, it'd be cost prohibitive to.
Right, yeah, either way, it's,
You
yeah,
wouldn't save enough
no.
in diesel fuel to.
No, I don't believe so, yeah, it would take a lot of years to run on diesel to justify that.
Well,
that
maybe
cost.
someday they'll get it. Get it granted.
Yeah, I don't know. We're looking at other options for.
They're both depressed.
Yeah. That's still
Can
within.
you thank Katie for this, the information about the town?
Yeah.
That was good to read.
What's that?
Thank you for this.
Oh,
It was
that's
interesting.
actually. I
Came
don't
from
know where that
Chris.
came from.
Chris,
Chris, yeah.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay, the next item on the agenda will be the 2014 fee resolutions. I think these are recommendations of staff are making the change for 2014. Any questions on that?
I have a question about, under animal fees, it says not registered after January 31st of each year, $20, but it's $50 if you're not staying or neutering in January. I'm wondering if the person waits till February to tag your dog, you only have to pay $20 instead of $50?
No, let me, this is a differential registration, and we're trying to encourage pet owners to have their pets spayed or neutered. So if it's an intact animal, that's $50 registration fee. If
No
it's,
matter when in the year?
no matter when.
Okay.
If it's fixed, it's only $5. But after 1 February, or after the 31st of January, there's an additional late fee.
So it's $70.
It could be.
And there's no requirement for a cat to have a license, right?
Not today.
Should there be?
At what point? do we-
We'll talk about that in a little bit, I think.
Because I got some questions on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, this will be on our,
I got another one. The kenneling fees, does that cover the current kenneling fee?
It does. It does.
But.
And for us, he's got a variety of kenneling fees, depending on the size of the dog. We just assessed one fee.
Is it the maximum?
It is.
That
It
they
is.
have for the big dogs out there?
It is, yeah. And as far as I know, it's still current. I believe it's still current, so
Well,
$10 would be,
It's my opinion that if we have an offensive animal that's being kenneled at this rate, there should probably be a premium paid to the vet that's doing this as a service to the city, because it could be at Christmas time when you've got his boarding,
right,
and we should have preference.
yeah, the last one was.
He should want to serve us, you know, that's all, I'm saying I think we should pay him a little bit extra, you know, so that we can have that good relation and not have to ruffle those feathers.
Dr. Lukes has always given us a 50% discount on the kenneling fees.
Right, but I'm talking like animals that have, say, bitten someone. You know, I think those dogs need to have a priority of getting into the pound and staying in the pound for the required 10 days. And I think, it's my opinion that we should make it financially beneficial to the
Big
vet
premium.
to do that, so we don't have them released prematurely.
And that goes back to the dog, right?
Good,
Yeah, the
yeah.
dog owner gets assessed that
We
fee.
hope, I mean, there's always chances of people not paying that, so you have to be careful there, because city may end up with some of those bills.
So then they forfeit the animal to the city.
That don't pay.
I'm sorry?
If somebody picks their dog up at the pound, or tries to, what percentage don't never pay for it?
Hard to say.
And can we get Dr. Luke to not release that dog except to you?
No,
We can give
no,
them-
we've got no written agreement with Dr. Lukes. It's just a verbal agreement that he's handling pound issues for us. All right, and it's my impression that he doesn't want to have anything to do with enforcing our codes, our animal codes,
That would be
Okay,
another
so if-
incentive for us to have our own facility. right?
perhaps.
So if a dog goes in to Solomon Valley Vet Hospital and it's in there for 3 days, the owner comes and picks it up, do they have to pay the bill before that dog leaves?
I don't think so. In other words, the city pays that bill.
Are you thinking if we picked it up and then pounded it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because that makes absolutely no sense to me, why the city should be paying for an impounded dog when the owner's the one who is in the wrong.
You know, by not having them, tied up or,
Yeah. I can tell you from experience what'll happen is that a lot of owners will not go claim their animals if you make them pay and do all those things. So the animal will either be adopted out or euthanized if you do that. That'll be the end result for the majority of those animals.
Well, I think.
Well, to me, if that dog owner cares that much about the dog,
Yeah.
he'd be willing to get it out of the pen.
But many, because of the money, they won't do
And
it.
I think if I take my dog out there, I gotta pay for it
Yeah.
when I pick it up.
Yeah.
You just expect it.
So they shouldn't let them, unless they know the city's gonna pay them, that's what.
But the contract is with the city. When the city brings a dog out there, essentially that dog owner's a third party. They can't go after that third party because they've contracted with the city for an impounded dog, so they can
Right.
only come after the city, so
But they're not obligated to keep that animal.
right, and they don't have any
They're
right
not
to force
obligated then
payment.
to
They can't.
And
collect the bill for the city.
Slim chance that we
No.
could get an agreement, you think?
And if, I don't know. I don't have any, Chris would know
Chris?
that more than I do.
I don't think so.
Why can't we take them to municipal court and run them through the court system?
We can, it's just, I mean, we have a couple people that, they owe $1,000 plus, and it just takes a lot of time at $50 a month to collect that,
Well,
so. Eventually, hopefully we do, but not always.
I don't see any other way that we can manage the pet population in Beloit without doing something that.
Well, I
warrants a
think
change.
Chris wants to discuss that later, Brian.
This
You're
is-
not using your garage, are you, Chris?
My shed, yeah.
Well, his.
I had to move the lawnmower out of the shed, so I
I
put the
think,
dog in.
like I told you, I think we need to put some teeth in this thing and not back off. I really do. We're never gonna solve it. I know you wanna discuss that later, so.
Yes.
Any other questions on fees?
I just like I said, I completely agree with Bob.
So this will be on our first meeting in January.
Right, we'll have that, if there's more questions or whatever, but we'll have a fee resolution as we always do, usually in that first meeting in January to be passed.
Okay, next item, I guess, is code review.
I told you a couple of weeks ago that the
Before we go back, I'm noticing that the burial fee went up by $100. Why is the burial fee going up by $100?
Don't leave yet, Lynn. Why is the burial fee going up by $100?
The burial fee is what we use our backhoe for and all the equipment, and that's where we need a new backhoe. I mean, our backhoe's not gonna last. We're hopefully getting the one from the water department, that they're getting a new backhoe. But that's where, I mean, we sold 7 spots last year, we gave away 11. But that's where we will earn our money, and that's where we use our money, is the backhoe.
How does one get one for free?
You're a veteran. Our code right now says the veterans get a gray spot free, and the practice before I came was the spouse did also. So when you get to that code codification, you will get to discuss that.
I thought that was only just for the Veterans Memorial area.
It has to be in the Veterans Memorial, yes. Yes, it does. But the opening and closing is what we use the equipment for. I mean, that's what takes the time, that takes the weekend, and that's why we're recommending to increase that rather than the grave space.
This time of year, it's pretty complicated when the grounds frozen.
Or if you get into rock,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think back there is the city
Can't count that high.
But we can utilize the other backroads, can't we? I mean,
I'm gonna have a job taken.
Sounds like they got a rotation set up, and then that one will be the next one to go, and we've purchased a new.
People gonna continue dying on the frame.
yeah. Can't afford to, yeah.
One free cash. Okay, moving on. Codification review. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about going on to chapters, I think, 9, 10, 11, or something like that, nuisance abatement. But there's been enough communications about cats and dogs and that kind of thing. Thought we'd better come back and talk about that, satisfy some of the questions, some of the concerns that the council members have about animal control and code enforcement in that regard, with regard to cats and dogs. As you can see, once a dog is picked up either by me or dropped at the pound by a police department or a citizen that found the cat out or the dog out or whatever, it's a pound animal. And by state statute, it has to remain there up to 3 days to give the pet owner an opportunity to reclaim their pet. After that time, it becomes the property of the pound, or the city. In this case, it's the property of the pound. And they can do as they please with it, whether it's euthanasia or adoption or whatever. When the pet owner comes in and is able to identify the animal, I know many times that the pound will, Dr. Lutz will just release the animal back to the pet owner. If it's spent 1, 2, 3 days or whatever in the pound, then we get the bill for that. But often I will never know whose dog that was. I can't go back to that pet owner then and issue either a citation or warning or have a visit with them about animals that ordered, that kind of thing. So it takes the animal control aspect out of my hands in that way.
Why can't you do that?
Because it would require Dr. Lukes to honor our code. And that puts him in conflict with his clients.
That's what I think we need to incentivize them to comply with our code. I mean, if we fine him for not doing with the code, he's just gonna say, I'm not gonna do business with the city, he's gonna throw us off. So I think the only option we have is to incentivize them to comply with the code. And how do we do that? We pay him a premium for housing our animals, or we build a pound of our own and have
Save
that.
it a fortune.
Yeah, it's spent a fortune doing it. I mean, I don't see any other way we can do it. I think it's unacceptable to have dogs that are biting out on the streets. Because, all it takes is one little kid getting mauled, and we're all hanging our heads and feeling ashamed of ourselves for letting this continue. So,
And we will go to court.
if it happens to any of my family, you think I'd rather say he's going to court,
Right, so if he gives a cat back to you or a dog, what do you do with it?
I take back the pet owner.
Yeah, but if you don't know who the owner is.
If we don't know, then the animal becomes his animal. Unless it's something that the Humane Society wants to claim. And then we will foster the animals, cats or dogs, and try to rehome them at some
Okay,
point.
shouldn't that person have a license?
Sure.
So when that dog is picked up and it has a license, you should be able to go back.
That really is the easiest part. When the dog has a tag and it's licensed, I can track the owner, we can get it back to him. We can get it back to the pet owner, often without even going out to Dr. Luke's. I can give him a call, we can find out who it belongs to. If they've got a rabies tag, if they've got a city tag, we can find them that way too. So that makes it really
Okay.
easy.
Don't they need to have a rabies shot before they leave
Yeah,
the vet?
theoretically, the dog is gonna have two tags. A city tag, registration tag, and a rabies tag. Both of which I could track the owner then and get the animal back to the pet owner.
Chris, what percentage, you mentioned this one time, but what was the percentage of dogs you think are actually licensed and tagged?
Well, I think we've got about 150, 170 dogs registered with the city, and there may be 5 times that many in town. Most of which I'll never know about. Some I do know about, just not willing to go pound on the door and say, here's your citation for getting your dog registered. That's been a tactic that's been frowned upon in the past. And then the dogs that the folks have indoors, I'll never know about those. You also will never know about those.
Again, how do you make people be responsible pet owners?
Indeed. If we had our own facility, then we could do a lot more about controlling the animals, certain animals we impound. We could run a registration point from that, and as like Councilman Richards suggests, we can get a lot more aggressive in animal registration and enforcement that way.
Yeah, but that pound's gonna cost a lot of money.
It is an expensive ordeal.
Wouldn't
Some
it
of those
better
costs
to
can be
work with
recouped.
A private company, like we're doing, and try to, like Matt says, to incentivize them, would still be less expensive than having a city-owned pound.
Might be.
Because my concern, we get a pound, we got to hire an employee, then we got benefits, and then we got to hire somebody because that person needs time off. Then we got 2 people, the next thing, well, we got to have those 2 people off, so we hire another. It just kind of gets to be a snowball effect when we start.
We got 3 already hired.
He's pretty busy with code enforcement and a lot of stuff too.
Well, and I could get busier with if we had our own facility. That's true.
But I guess
And I could do that.
what I'm getting at, okay, if the dog has no tag, either a rabies tag or a city tag, when it goes out there to the vets, they have to give it a rabies shot out there, is that correct?
No, sir.
They
No.
don't?
All they've got to do is hold it for 3 days. And give a pet owner an opportunity to come back in, identify and claim the animal.
So they're not required out there as a veterinarian to make sure that dog has its rabies shot. or
Not
proof
for that 3
thereof.
days it's impounded, no.
And how long,
That's not a state statute or anything, is it?
No.
They have to give him the shot.
No.
That's, I mean, that's the city ordinance, and he doesn't.
I think often they do vaccinate the animals, more for kennel cough or something that might contaminate other resident animals in the pound or in the facility. But no, they won't just automatically give a rabies shot to the animal. No.
what's the time frame? You have to keep a cat 3 days before you do anything?
Cats or dogs.
3 days.
Yeah, 3 days.
Then the original owner loses their rights to the animal and first come, first served for that.
That's correct.
And what's it cost to put them down?
I think about $15 to $25.
And the willingness of a vet to do it.
I'm sorry?
And the willingness of a vet to do it.
That's right. Yeah, now, the animals that go out there that aren't claimed by the pet owner immediately, often will stay out there for weeks, because they just don't like to put them down. If it's a wild feral cat, they may have a more willingness to do that, but if it's a decent animal, you know, it's social, and they hate to put them down.
They seem to work hard to try to find them homes also.
I'm sorry?
I said, they seem to work hard to try to find them homes also.
They do. And farmers in several county area around here make contact with them frequently about taking some cats out to the barn, you know.
If a dog bites a human, I know there's a state statute that says it has to be observed for 10 days. Does that have to be in the pound, or can it be in the owner's home?
It's going to be in the pound unless a rabies vaccination can be verified. If the animal's already been vaccinated, and that can be verified, then the animal can be returned to the home.
Prior to 10 days.
Yes,
But if there's no vaccination, it has to be in the pound for 10
that's
days.
correct, observation period.
Is there a state penalty if they release the animal before 10 days?
I have no idea. I would think, yeah, if they violate a state statute, there's some sanction that it could be imposed.
Right, well,
But
I think you know where I'm going with this. When we have a breed-specific ordinance that says we're not allowed to have pit bull in town, and it bites a human and is released in less than 10 days, I'm thinking a cocktail of laws have been broke. And if we don't have a city ordinance, maybe there's a state ordinance that we could inform state officials of in those cases. 'Cause I am still very upset that there was a pit bull in town that bit a citizen of this town, and it was released less than 10 days. That just incenses me, because I happen to know, and I'll, just from a personal basis, that dog was in the vicinity of my nieces. And, you know, I'm telling you, if a little child gets bit, there's gonna be hell to pay.
I have no authority.
I'm just saying, I'm serious, passionately
Has
serious.
that been rectified, that dog?
Dogs Act, yeah. I was able to make contact personally with that pet owner, and in about less than 3 hours, that dog was out of town. Out of county.
If they let them out before 10 days and they happen to be rabies, the person who bit would have to know that, they gotta go see a.
Well, the vet clinic was able to verify that the dog was current on its rabies shot.
Does it have to be a vet that puts the animal down?
No. I could get certified to do euthanasia, but I'm not certified to hold those drugs to do it.
So you'd have to go get them.
Yes. As I understand the law.
Are you willing to do it?
Yes, last resort.
Well, I don't think we're ever gonna solve this problem if we don't stop the source. You know, and we keep turning these cats back out there, we're just gonna keep multiplying, you know?
Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah, I hope you all had a chance to read the white paper that I sent. That came from the National National Animal Control Association, NACA, National Association of Animal Controllers. And a couple of veterinarians got together and wrote that article. And you can see that that our problem is not unique. You know, communities across the country have faced the same thing. And mixed results, whether they go to trap neuter return, or just euthanasia, or relocation, or whatever, they've still got the problem. So the community cats, community animals we got, are a fact of life. So, I don't know if we're gonna be able to, in my lifetime, get a good handle on it. But under the existing circumstances, I'm not optimistic at all.
Well, from my observation, you know, I don't see many dogs running around. There are occasionally, but there's cats running everywhere. And I have neighbors that let cats in. So I think the first step is that we require a license. I really do. Doesn't have to think twice about letting that cat run around all night. Who knows where, you know.
But it's the same way it is with the dogs.
Sure.
If a cat's picked up,
Oh, yeah.
taken out there, and they, you know, then Solomon Valley Vet Hospital, we're back in the same boat. We don't know.
Anybody that asks for a trap or asks for help trapping cats, I'll take a trap out, we'll set a trap, we'll try to trap a few of those cats in that neighborhood. But Kent's exactly right, you know, after a few days, that cat's gonna be returned. If somebody claims it, it'll be returned to the same situation, same circumstances as which where I picked it up.
The only thing you would have is if it has a collar, you'll know who to go after.
That's correct.
That's the only
A
plus.
lot of people are very opposed to putting cats on collars if they're an outdoor cat. Now, I suggest to you that an outdoor cat is a cat at large,
That's right.
all right? But, I don't, how we change that ethos?
Chris,
We'll
what
just
are
make an ordinance.
homeowners supposed to do that their neighborhoods just, cats are everywhere, there's cat feces all over their flower beds, their sidewalks, and reeks of urine. What are they supposed to do to get rid of those? I mean, to control that? What
Nothing
can they
that
do?
I know of except trapping them and doing something else with them. Like I say, either you take them out there, pound, I'm obligated to take them to the pound, where they're obligated to keep them 3 days, and then release them after 3 days, either back to the pet owner or to someone else. You know, even if that's the Heavenly Father.
Well, you know, that's what I've had people call me and ask me and approach me about. It's like, I got all these cats, and then I know my family, my daughter lived in a rental place, and it was just swarmed with cats, and it was terrible. And it was worse than any feedlot. But it's just like, what do they do? I mean, you catch one cat, and you still got both.
Well, the article suggested a formula to calculate how many community cats we've got, and that's the population divided by 3.5, which makes it actually about 1,100 cats, under 1,100 cats in our community. That's more than I estimated years ago. They don't have an answer either. I certainly don't.
Yeah.
A trap neuter return, a spay neuter, low cost spay neuter program would be helpful. Can't do any of that without spending a bunch of money. Now, Dr. Luke's just recently expanded their facility. They're still full. They're still full.
Chris, what would you do if somebody took their garbage in their backyard and burned it? You'd find them, right?
Well, is it with them to make sure that they understood what the rule is and it's not permitted?
If they've got a herd of 30 cats and they're putting food out there, that's pretty much the same as burning trash in the backyard. They're being a nuisance to their neighbors. And I would think there comes a point where it's not just one house cat that's running around. I mean, if they're harboring.
Help me come up with the answer then.
Find them. What the economics of.
Where are the cats gonna go?
Well, they're gonna scatter and they're gonna, coyotes gotta eat.
The cats are gonna go where the resources are,
Yeah.
okay? If that's next door, down the street, down the block, the cats are here, okay?
Mhm.
Like flies. We're not gonna get rid of them. Gotta figure out how to deal with them. And right now, kind of throw my hands up. looking for help.
I told you what to
Who was their idea?
do. But if you're gonna get rid of the problem, you gotta get rid of the cats. You know, you can't have sympathy. I mean, I sympathize with cat lovers, I mean, if they like their cats, but it's apparent, see, people don't take the same precautions with cats they do dogs, or you wouldn't see them running all over town. And I still think the first start is that we require a license.
You can see the garage doors open, the cats go in, they go out.
Yeah.
You know, and the dogs are tied up.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I have to keep my dog contained, and
all
it's not gonna solve the whole problem, but, you know, if a guy gets popped 25 or 50 bucks to get his cat back, you know.
Well, you know, for years,